Hello everyone and welcome to module 13 of the Basics of Digital Marketing course by Hovers. In this module we are going to talk about building a brand. So let's begin. What are the topics that we are going to cover in this module? There are three main topics which goes by what is a brand, what do you mean by a brand? The second is what is brand building and what do you mean by brand building? And how do you perform brand building activities? The third is the steps that are involved in order to build a brand. So the first question that comes to our mind is what is a brand? If you search on the internet, there are a lot of definitions, and every person will have his own definition about a brand. But what we are giving you is some of the best definitions that are there around a brand. A brand is a customer's overall perception of your business. So, what does your customer perceive about your business is what your brand is all about. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, says that your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. This is a very simple explanation of your brand is what it is all about. So your brand is actually what other people say about you if you're a personal brand or about your business when you are not there. So not what your brand is in front of you, but what it is behind your back. Your brand is basically your reputation. Whatever you're going to do, whatever kind of business you're going to do, any service that you're going to provide, even if you're an individual by yourself who is creating your own brand, your brand is the reputation that you get. What is brand building? So, how do you grow the reputation of the brand? First of all, there is a simple formula for the brand success. Your brand should have a very positive image towards the customer, and secondly, your brand should stand out. When both these things fuse, there is a brand success that is going to happen. What are the phases of brand building? So, the first phase of brand building is to create a brand strategy. It is followed by making a brand identity, and the third is brand marketing. In brand strategy, what you are going to look at is who your customer is, who your competitor is, how are you going to place your product, where are you going to place your product, who is going to buy your product, what is the pricing that your brand or your product is looking at. So the strategy should be made in order to make your brand stand out from others. That is the main part of brand strategy. The second is brand identity. All the things that come under brand identity are your logo, your tagline, your colors, your packaging. All this is brand identity. Brand identity is going to be the thing that your brand is going to be known by among customers and people. The third point is brand marketing. How are you going to do your brand's marketing? Which channels are you going to use? Which social media platforms are you going to use? Which media, which type of magazines, or what kind of platforms are you in general going to use for marketing? How are you going to reach your potential customers that you have defined in your strategy and the brand that you have made using your brand identity? So, what we are going to tell you is 11 steps in order to build a brand. These are not an exhaustive list, but it will keep out a lot of things, and it is made in such a way that if you follow them step by step, you can start building a brand of yourself or one for your client, or it might be very helpful for people who are CMOs or just brand owners. So, the first thing that you have to do in terms of building a brand is discover the brand's purpose. Why is your brand alive? What is your brand trying to do? What is your brand providing to your customers? In general, the brand's purpose will be that this is a brand, this is a customer. Why is the brand existent? What comes to the mind of the founders or the team that is making the brand in order to make the brand launch or in order to make the product or service that the brand is providing? This is very important so that you decide why your brand is alive and it makes the whole brand come in unison. The second part is have a very thorough market research. Why do we need market research is because you have to look what your competitors are doing, what pricing they are selling at, what products they are selling, what their unique selling proposition is, what is their strength, what is their weakness, make a SWOT analysis if you want to. But a thorough market research will tell you where your brand has to make a difference, how people will differentiate your brand from others. The third is determine your target audience. The target audience you have to determine in terms of geographic, demographic, and psychographic. What is the age group of people who are going to be your brand's customers? What is the type of audience that your brand is attracting? Is it employers? Is it going to be students from a certain age group? Is it going to be moms who are taking care of their kids? It can be anything. But what you have to do is you have to determine an exact target audience for your brand. This is very important when you're doing the marketing stage, or even it becomes important when you're making a logo, so that your logo is very appealing to some of the target audience. The next point is to determine a brand buyer persona. A brand buyer persona is going to be an identity or a person who your brand considers as a buyer. So, for example, I am a customer for a brand like Apple. So, what does Apple have to look in for me? Am I capable of buying a phone like Apple? Do I have the deep pockets in order to buy Apple? Do I like the whole brand purpose of Apple? What Apple is trying to do? What kind of target group they are going into? Do I feel connected to the brand? And also what kind of age or age group, what kind of work I am doing, what kind of society or what kind of target group I'm living into. So this is how you define or determine the brand buyer persona. In the brand buyer persona, the main thing is that you have to determine a person who is going to be your 100% customer. If you find a person like ABC in the target audience, they are going to be for sure your customer, and you have to define this so that your brand succeeds in the years to come. The fifth point is to establish a mission statement. Why do you have to establish a mission statement? Is because your brand is going to be handled by people. You want the people to know what your brand is all about. In order to do that, it is very important to establish a mission statement to make it clear for your team as well as the customers what your brand is functioning for, what your brand is going to provide, and what the brand stands for. The next point is to define a brand personality. What do you mean by a brand personality? So here is a brand personality spectrum. This is a very confusing point for many of the people who are trying to make their brand personality, because it is very vague in nature. But if you structure it according to the brand personality spectrum, you get things clear. So, what is the personality of your brand? What does your brand look like or should be perceived as? Is it a friendly brand? Is it a corporate or professional brand? Is it a spontaneous or high energy brand, or is it carefully thinking, planning brand? So, then it comes to, is it a modern or high tech brand, or do you want to keep it classic and traditional? If you are going to the classic and traditional way, you can have many restaurant brands which now want to get into the fields of a classic and traditional way. Also, there are many brands who want to make it modern and make it high tech. So they want to be on the edge of technology. So they want the personality of the brand to look like it is very innovative. Is it going to be a cutting edge brand, or is it going to be an established brand? So do you want it to be like a very new brand in the market which is cutting edge on every front, or do you want it to look established and it has a very old history? Is it a fun brand or a serious brand? When you look at the brand or when you look at the brand's identity, what do you feel about it? Is it a fun brand around it, or is it a very serious brand? Is the brand doing serious business? Is it going to target only serious people? And is it a fun brand? If you're going into fashion and stuff, you can't get your brand's personality as serious. It might be for luxury customers, but if your brand is into a fun category, you have to make the brand personality in such a way that it showcases as a fun brand. Is your brand accessible to all, or is your brand exclusive? This point comes in between when you have to divide your brand into a luxury item or a commodity item. Is it going to be accessible for all groups of the society, or is it going to be very exclusive? Is it going to be just for the elite? So if you consider in terms of Rolls Royce or luxury car markets, your brand has to look like it is exclusive and it is for a certain group of the society. The next point is to create a brand logo. Now you might be very confused as to why I have put this point and the tagline point so late into the steps of building a brand. It is because all the things that I've told before is like your pre-market research or your initial research in order to make a logo and a tagline. Do not start to make a logo and a tagline until and unless you have finished with the top 5 or 6 steps. So at least get to know what your brand is all about, who are the customers, who are you targeting, and then get on in order to create a brand logo. So your brand logo is for sure an important step, and that is what people are going to see. Your brand tagline comes along with the brand logo, and your tagline communicates with the customer of what your brand is about. For example, a very famous tagline comes from BMW, which is about sheer driving pleasure. So BMW's logo is very distinctive. You have to make the logo as distinctive as a fingerprint of a person. Why you have to do that is because when a person goes and is connected to your brand, he doesn't have to confuse your brand with any other one. So make it as distinct as possible from your competitors, from your subsidiaries, or anything like that. Your tagline also should be in conjunction with your brand's identity and your brand's personality. As BMW says, sheer driving pleasure, all their cars are focused on speed. They are not focused on luxury. They might be, but the main aim is to have pleasure when the car is driven. So they have a very big focus on performance. On any car that you have for BMW, the first thing will be performance. And it is showcased in their logo as well as tagline. The logo might actually show a bit of luxury, but the tagline is for sure for performance. The next point is to determine brand color guidelines. The colors that your brand are going to be identified by are very important. There is a lot of color philosophy going on behind a brand's logo or a brand's identity. Right now with hovers we have red, black and white, which actually is a very professional outlook as we feel, and it is very sharp. So the thing that we wanted to choose red, black and white is because it looks professional. We wanted it to look like a professional consultancy agency, and also it looks very sharp. Big question of what kind of colors your brand should be using, and in order to do that you should be looking at what kind of color has a relation with what kind of psychology with the person. The next point is to integrate your brand in all aspects of business. How you can do that is a good question, because in order to integrate your brand in all aspects of the business, you have to make the brand logo, you have to put the brand logo everywhere, you have to put the tagline everywhere. Everything that is touched or not tangible by people is your brand. So the intangible spaces of your brand have to be covered by the branding, the brand logo, the tagline, the color guidelines. Everything should be in unison. So let me show you an example of what Rolls-Royce did for their rebranding. Actually, the brand is old, the brand is well known by people, but what they wanted to do for 2020 now is to rebrand it. And in order to do that, they made a brand marketing strategy. So what is a brand marketing strategy is, how are you going to reach your customer? Now that you have made your brand, now that you have defined your customer, now that you have a logo, a tagline, how do you reach your customer? Who is your target audience going to be, and where are they going to be in order to look at your brand? Your brand marketing strategy might take care of your social media platforms, your social media marketing, your media buying, print media, if you are doing a lot of press publications, if you are going to have a award ceremony or anything linked to it. So you have to define a go to market strategy for your brand. Now this is your brand, this is your product, and this is your customer base sitting here. How do you attract your brand to the customers, and how do the customers feel about your brand? So that is what the brand marketing strategy is about. So let me show an example of what Rolls-Royce recently did to their brand. So as you can see, Rolls-Royce recently showed us a new brand identity for the Rolls-Royce motors. Earlier, the whole identity of Rolls-Royce was about white colors. Maybe they might be using brushed aluminum colors. they were using white, a lot of white. But now they have shifted the whole focus from the simple colors to a purple color. Why they have used purple color is because purple color symbolizes luxury, and as we know, Rolls Royce is all about luxury. They had to showcase the brand completely as a luxury automobile. So, in order to do that, what they have done is they have made their color purple, and the purple color has been showcased into all the things that they have in mind. So, as you can see, this is the brand logo and the brand identity. They will be using this identity in their cars. It will be in their logo. They have changed the logo and they have made it a bit modern now. This is the logo. It's very clean. It's very simple. There is no Rolls Royce written on it. So it's just the R and R. So that's it. They have made it very minimalistic. Then they have launched a black badge series, which is going to be a dark theme for all their cars. So they have rebranded it as a young car as well, a young brand, but also keeping the luxury in mind. This is the old original logo, which is the original one that has been used from a long time. And this is the new Rolls-Royce motor cars. They have changed the font, they have made it thinner, they have made it sleek. You can see the difference between the Rolls-Royce motor cars and the Rolls-Royce motor cars now. Look at this. They have made it a bit bronze and the background is purple as always. And this theme they have used it in a lot of things. So when whatever you see about the brand, you are going to see this brand identity everywhere. They know their target audience well and what their target audience likes. In order to do that, they have made this brand and changed this brand into a 2020 theme. Look at the change in the logo. It has become very minimalistic now. And this minimalism follows in the logo as well, in the packaging design. Look at the packaging design, it's very minimal. This is the logo. And also what they have done now is earlier they used to have the RR badge over here, but now they have made the monogram and the spirit of ecstasy visible, and they have kept it as the main identity of the brand. You can watch their video on their website, it's very interesting. Just go through it, you will get to know how a brand should be and what your brand should focus on when you are rebranding or even when you're starting a brand. So that's all in this module. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found this module very informative. If you have any suggestions or comments, do write them down below in the comment section. And I have a question for you. What is your favorite brand? What is the brand that you look at and feel like this is the best brand in the world? I'm waiting for your comments below. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook group. The link is given in the description. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel. And see you all in the next module. Thank you.